Alright, I have 3 articles I would like to share today, and the common theme in them is overreaction on the part of those in power against the actions of those who are not in power, i.e. regular people like ourselves. Now the first one is from Police State USA, an excellent site that I recommend for everyone to read. It is titled, New York Family Left Homeless After Police Ripped Down Their Walls to Serve a DWI Warrant. A family has been left homeless after law enforcement agencies destroyed their entire house in the process of serving a warrant for a man for driving while intoxicated. Their home was condemned after armored police vehicles plowed through several walls attempting to get to 36-year-old David Cady. A bench warrant had been issued for Mr. Cady, and he had missed a court appearance on August 26, 2014, according to his conviction. So, the result is, on December 30th, 2014, a SWAT team moved in to make the arrest. Their house at 127 Hornburg Road was surrounded, and Melissa and their 2 children exited upon request, but David did not, and the police spent extensive resources to perform a lengthy standoff, resulting in his death. Now you see here, yes, no, he should not have been drinking and driving, that's obvious. But was it really necessary to send in a SWAT team to issue a warrant against him because he had missed one court date? Was it necessary for them to drive armored vehicles through their walls and destroy their house? Now, if that isn't an overreaction on the police's part, I don't know what is. Okay, they could have just arrested Mr. Cady next time he went out. They could have gotten him at his place of work. I don't think there was a need for a SWAT team to come and destroy a man's house and kill him, and now leave a mother and children without a father and without a home. This is just absurd. And a complete abuse of power, in my opinion. Okay, the next article we're going to look at is admittedly different from the first one, but again, it's an overreaction on the part of those in power. The article is from torrentfreak.com, and it is titled, Anti-Piracy Group Hits Indie Creators for Using the Word Pixels. Now, pixels, that is a word that is very commonly used nowadays. It's simply a measurement of a screen's resolution, and a lot of videos likely have it in their titles. But listen to this. An anti-piracy firm working for Columbia Pictures has hit Vimeo with a wave of bogus copyright takedowns just because people use the word pixels in their video titles. Several indie productions have been affected, including an art-focused NGO, an award-winning short movie, and a royalty-free stock exchange company. Tens of millions of DMCA-style takedowns are sent to online services every week complaining about copyright infringement. While most are accurate, some contain errors. But this one has taken it to a whole new level. The anti-piracy group is called Antura International, and they sent a notice to Vimeo in what at first appeared to be an effort to stop piracy of the Columbia movie Pixels. However, it failed to do that in every way possible, and it hit a number of indie creators and filmmakers instead. One of them is called NIMI, which was founded in November 2004. They describe themselves as a nonprofit NGO and an independent museum of contemporary art. Our NGO has just received the DMCA takedown notice for a video that we produced in 2006 entitled Pixels. Now you notice the problem here. The movie, the Columbia Pictures movie has just come out this year, and the NIMI movie was put out in 2006. So if anything, the Columbia Pictures movie is the one that's infringing on the NIMI movie. But because Columbia Pictures has millions of dollars, obviously that doesn't matter. The video was directed by a Cypriot filmmaker using his own photos and sounds and music on a shoestring budget and did not infringe on copyright. However, the video has now been resigned to history, and users who try to find NIMI's pixels are instead greeted by the following error message on Vimeo. Also, it isn't just NIMI that was hit. Another one that was hit was called Lifeboy, and it was a project for a degree at the National University of Arts in Bucharest by creator Dragos Bardak. His film was made in mid-2010, and it was a music video for the song Lifeboy by the band The Pixels. He used a mix of stop-motion animation techniques in order to tell the story. So again, another video that predated Columbia Pictures movie by a good 4 years, and it wasn't even the video title, but it was the name of the band whose music was used in the video. And it doesn't stop there. Another video called Pantone Pixels was published to Vimeo in 2011 by creator Rob Penny as a personal project that took him a very long time. Thanks to Antura, however, the image below greets users who try to find his video Pantone Pixels. And as you might expect, it gets even worse. There's also an award-winning short film created by Patrick Jean in 2010, which is also called Pixels. It is a tagline. Its tagline, 8-bit creatures are invading New York City, only tells half the story of this extremely cool short movie. It was wiped out on video, however, it is still available on YouTube and has been viewed millions of times. Another victim is VJLoops.com, a royalty-free stock footage and media site. They put a video up on Vimeo called Love Pixels, and that turned out to be a big mistake. This also goes for a 42-second video concerning this year's Pixels Festival in Mons, Belgium. And then Antura rounded off this disaster by taking down the official Pixels movie trailer, even though their very own notice lists their errors clearly. So apparently, in their zeal to wipe out all videos with the word pixels in them, Antura also took down the official Pixels trailer, which Columbia Pictures had wanted on Vimeo, but I guess that doesn't matter to them. And now, in addition to the hassle of having their legal content wrongfully taken down, each person who was put through this by Antura has had a strike placed on their Vimeo account. Quote, "The notice we received says that this is strike one, which we do not accept for the aforementioned reasons. It also says that for Vimeo to accept to return the video online, we have to give our names, addresses, and an assortment of statements," the Name Me project told Vimeo in a response. Mark from Vimeo responded, "I would suggest filing a counter notice. This is in the hands of our trust and safety team, and unfortunately, our support team cannot help you with this issue. Sorry, folks, apparently you're on your own." Okay, this last video is easily the most outrageous, at least in my opinion, and it comes from Police State USA yet again. This is from January, but it's still worth mentioning. Truck drivers jailed for 19 days after exercising their rights at a federal checkpoint. Quote, "I could never imagine challenging government's actions, talking about your rights could get you arrested," unquote. This took place in Laredo, Texas. A long-haul truck driver was arrested and detained for 19 days after invoking his rights at an internal federal checkpoint on a highway in Texas. Now, this is just a note that CBP, Customs Border Patrol, can have checkpoints as far inside the country as 100 miles from the border. So if you're unlucky enough to live in a border state, technically you don't have full Fourth Amendment rights, and they can stop you at these checkpoints. They can question you, question your citizenship, search your car. They can even search your phone if they want to, and you're not allowed to refuse them, even though you're supposed to, because we're supposed to have Fourth Amendment rights. Okay, back to the article. The driver and his passenger were questioned by CBP agents while they were stopped at the checkpoint. Now, this was not the first time they had gone through this, and they were fed up with the routine harassment from federal agents that they encountered while crisscrossing the United States, so they decided to exercise their right to not answer questions. The passenger, Greg Rosenberg, is a naturalized U.S. citizen who grew up in Soviet-ruled Armenia. He recalled his version of events in an interview with Reason TV. Border Patrol became increasingly hostile as the driver politely refused to participate in the roadside interrogation. Mr. Rosenberg sat in the passenger seat while recording the incident. Quote, "You have a legal right to ask me a question, and I have the legal right to not answer your question," the driver said in a cell phone recording. So, of course, the two men were yanked from the truck and handcuffed. Only the final 2 minutes of the video were salvaged because the CBP officers confiscated Rosenberg's phone and tried to delete the evidence. Despite verifying his American citizenship, Rosenberg was detained and interrogated. He said that agents laughed at him as he talked about the Constitution and took joy in the situation. Driver and passenger were booked for impeding Border Patrol duties, Reason reported, which is a felony. So there you go. If you refuse to answer their questions, if you try to exercise your Fourth Amendment rights, it's a felony because apparently Customs and Border Patrol is above the law of the land. The men were then locked in a South Texas jail and were denied access to legal counsel. Rosenberg recalls, "I saw my lawyer after 2 weeks, and he was not released until October 10th, 2014, 19 days after the incident. All charges were ultimately dropped, avoiding the tenuous legal questions about the legality of the arrest. I didn't get it because I could never imagine that challenging the government's actions and talking about your rights could get you arrested," Rosenberg told Reason TV. There are about 170 permanent federal checkpoints erected on highways inside the United States, and unfortunately these were legally supported by the U.S. Supreme Court in the United States versus Martinez-Fuerte lawsuit. Mr. Rosenberg says that internal checkpoints do not make any sense and are reminiscent of the behavior of the former Soviet Union. I see a lot of similarities to the stories my parents were telling me about of the past. If you complained about the government back then in Soviet-controlled Armenia, they took you to Siberia. You don't have a right to legally challenge the government. It completely doesn't make any sense to have these interior checkpoints, he says. If they are saying they want to protect the border, then they should be at the border, not inside America, violating our rights and our freedom of movement. Attorney Aparna Lal is representing Rosenberg. She intends to file a lawsuit against the agency alleging false imprisonment and violation of her client's rights. And I agree with Rosenberg. If the purpose of CBP is to stop illegal immigration and stop smuggling through the border, then why are they allowed to set up these checkpoints 100 miles inland? That's not the border. The border is the border. 100 miles inland is inside the USA. And I think that as long as you're inside the USA, you should be able to come and go freely without having to go through these checkpoints, as if you were coming from another country. So those are my 3 articles that I've read, and I thank you for enduring with this video. The links to the articles are in the description below. And thank you for watching.